So, you've seen a video of Sparkball and you thought to yourself, what the f is going on? That's fine, because the lucky few players that are already playing the game also look a little confused. I know the game looks super fun, but there's so many elements that go into it that makes it super competitive. So let me clear everything up and take you from a noob to a pro in Sparkball with my 5 tips. Let's get into it. Before we get into my 5 tips, let me explain to you guys the structure of a game when it comes to Sparkball, from the beginning when you start the match until you score the goal, because there's so many things that go into a game that you might get a little confused. So let me break it all down. So when you start a match, you'll be in this little rating area where you can check your abilities when you're trying out a new hero. But when you start a match, you have to run to the middle, because that's where the ball is going to appear. And if you're lucky enough to get the ball, the idea is to race towards the tower, because you need to shoot the ball in the tower, because once you do that, these crystals will appear. I need to attack these crystals to do extra damage to the tower. But don't worry about all the damage and stuff right now, because I'm going to break all that down in a tip later in the video. So after you destroy the tower, the ball's going to drop again into the middle. And then once the tower is down, the way to score a goal is to basically run at it and throw the ball at it, because the goal has a barrier protecting it. And you need to throw the ball at the barrier a few times, and then once the barrier falls, the goal will be open for you to throw the ball in there and to score a goal. So now you got a basic understanding of what a match is like in Sparkball. Let me give you guys 5 tips that's going to help you go from a noob to a pro and start scoring some goals. For my first tip, you guys have to understand something. Just because the ball appears in the middle, don't rush straight towards it. Because if you're not a tank or your character is not built to go get the ball and get out as quick as you can, then you're just going to die. And when you die in the game, you're holding your team back massively, because then your opponent has a player advantage over you, and that could be very costly. So at the beginning of the match, when everyone's all waiting around the middle bit, waiting for the ball to drop, don't be over eager to rush in there and get it yourself. If you can't get it, then just leave it to another player, because if the right player gets it, you can get the pass and then you'll get the ball. That's the one thing that people need to understand. Don't be so ball hungry and trying so much to get your hands on the ball, because if you get the ball in the wrong position, you're just going to lose it. And if you lose it, your team can score on you, and that's super bad. But if you do want to be the person that rushes in the middle to get the ball, pick a character that's built for this, like a tank, or a character that has some form of mobility ability or some CC to get out of the middle. Because in the middle at the beginning of the game, it's super hectic, because every single player has all their abilities loaded and ready. So if you're just in the middle as like a squishy character, you're going to die in seconds, and you might even die before the ball drops. You guys have to understand something. You're not immortal. So make sure you're healing when your health is low, because you could be at half HP, initiate yourself in a fight, and die straight away. And remember my first point, if you die, you're holding your team back. And there's so many ways in the game for you to heal. Obvious one is to hold the B button and go back to your base and heal up and then come straight back into the battle. But if you're at the beginning of the game, you can easily walk back to your goal and heal. But this hidden area disappears the second you lose your tower. And there's a universal healing station, which is this little vending machine where you guys can go and heal. But the thing is, any person can use this, and it has a cooldown every time it's used. So make sure you use it when you need to. Another subtle way to sustain yourself within the game that's not necessarily healing is by passing the ball around, because every time you receive the ball, you get a shield, and this shield is great because that means you're taking less damage. So if you're super active with your team, passing the ball around, a lot of the time you're going to take a lot less damage compared to a team that's holding on to the ball so much. So remember, heal when you can, and don't be a ball hog and pass it around. For my next tip, be ready for when the ball drops, because after your tower has been beaten up, or your opponent's tower has been beaten up, the ball will fall down randomly. And the thing is, if you're not aware, the other team could pick it back up after attacking your tower and then attack it for a second time in a row. So what you need to do is be vigilant and look at that little cursor on the floor and keep an eye on it. And make sure your opponent is nowhere near it when it's falling and you are near it. But the thing is, there's one thing to remember. After a tower has fully been destroyed, the ball will reset into the middle. So make sure you're ready for that occasion. because your team could be fully on an attack, then when the ball gets resetted, no one's there but the opponent, then they get the easy ball carry, and it could be costly for you. Even though I said to you guys, don't be a ball hog, the best thing for you lot to do is to make sure your tallest character is the person that's trying to get the ball when it's falling. Because the thing is, if there's loads of people in one little area and the ball's falling, the ball's going to go to the character that's the tallest. And if you've played the game already, you've definitely seen Hot Paw. And Hot Paw is massive. And if he uses his ult, he gets even bigger. So he's going to win every single ball drop in the game. So the best thing you can do is either play him or strategize to make sure he's as far away from the ball drop as you can. If you guys didn't hear me already, there's a little marker on the floor so you lot can keep track of where the ball's going to fall. So you lot could be ready for every time it drops. For my next tip, there's something you lot have to understand. Every single hero in the game has its role. Some people are super offensive, some people are defensive, some people cannot be hit once, some people can take a beating. So learn what your character's going to do and read its abilities. This is a massive thing you don't need to do, is read each hero's ability. Because yes, it can do a jump, it can do a little attack, but there's other effects that go along with these abilities that you lot want to use. Because a lot of the time it will say, if you pass the ball, you get a little buff, or things like this. And if you're a ball hog and not passing the ball around, you're not getting any of these extra effects when you're playing. So once you understand what your character does, now you need to implement core Sparkball logic to yourself, which is pass the ball around. Because like I said already, every single time you get the ball, you get a shield and a speed buff. So if you're moving the ball around constantly, your team's moving quicker than your opponent's team. So they can't really counter you as much as your attack. So don't hold the ball, pass it around and make smart plays. Maybe all push to one side, then use a teleporter with the ball to flip to the other side and score a goal. Because the thing is, there's strategy that goes into scoring goals when it comes to scoring on the tower or scoring in the goal itself. So make sure using strategy and using the hero to its fullest capability to win the game. Because you have to remember, every single hero has fatigue. How much fatigue you have comes down to your hero. But the more you get beaten up while holding the ball, the gauge goes really quickly. And if you drop the ball, your opponent's just going to pick it up straight away. But if you're constantly moving the ball around, everyone's fatigue meter ain't going to be moving up too much. So just remember, don't hold the ball because you're just going to get fatigued from being attacked and drop it and you could lose the game. For my last tip guys, this one's super important. But you need to understand how the damage system in the game works when it comes to towers and the goal. Because you can shoot the ball into the tower to do damage. You can also destroy crystals to do extra damage. You can go onto the side of the map to the cannon to do damage to the tower without needing to interact with it. And you also got the barrier that's protecting the goal from you scoring. And there's so much logic that goes into them. So let me explain it. So every time you shoot the ball at the tower and the crystals appear, you'll do 25% damage to the tower. And every time you destroy a crystal, you will do an additional 10% damage. So that means if every time you shoot the ball into the tower and you don't destroy any crystals, it's going to take you 4 shots to completely destroy this tower. Because every single shot is 25% damage. But if you shoot the ball into the tower and destroy all 4 of the crystals, which is not easy at all, you'll be doing 65% damage to that tower. That means you only need to do one more attack to take it all down. But if you want to do some additional damage without the ball, there's this little island area on the side where if your team goes and fights and holds the area up and unlocks the cannon, which will do an additional 5% damage. So all in all, there's loads of different ways for you to take down the tower before going to score the goal. But remember, once you take down the tower, the ball will reset and it will fall in the middle again. So make sure you're ready for that. But once you've taken the tower down, it's time for you to set up to score a goal. But the thing is, there's a barrier stopping you guys. But every time you shoot the ball at the barrier, it's going to do 34% damage. So that means it's going to take 3 shots for you to take the barrier down. And then after that, you've got to score a goal. So you have to work as a team in front of that goal, passing it around, slowly taking the barrier down to set yourself up to score the final goal. And every single game is a best of 3. So that means a team needs to score 2 goals to win the game. So work as a team, pass that ball around, defeat some heroes along the way to set yourself up to take down the tower, and then the goal later. Well, that's it guys. Here are my beginner tips for you lot to go from a noob to a pro in Sparkball. So all you got to do now is get on the field and get practicing. But that's it from us for today. So remember, be a shark in this world, not a whale. And we're going to catch you guys next time.